steps up to the plate and crushes the leftist lies of open borders and loose immigration. Guys, I think you're gonna like this video. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There actually is an interesting exchange of dialogue that goes on here. It's not, you know, your typical video. So I think you're gonna like it. I personally did, and we're gonna get right into it. But first, everybody, do me a huge favor here. I need you to like our video, share it around, and if you are new, yes, subscribe to the Resist to Mainstream YouTube channel so we keep bringing you guys this great content. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much, and welcome back. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the show.
All right, let's get started, everybody.
Hi, so my question is regarding the mass deportation that Donald Trump is trying to enforce if he is elected as president. And my question is, do you think this mass deportation is fair? And if you do, why?
Yes, of course, I do. And it's first and foremost, we'll start with the people that committed crimes while they're here, DUIs, murders, rapes, so on and so forth. So let me give you one very simple example that is emotional, but it is personal, and it is local. The killer of Laken Riley should be deported and should be put in a foreign prison, not an American prison. Now, I will admit, not everyone who's coming in here illegally is like the killer of Laken Riley, of course, but that is a very personal example of a UGA student that was just, you guys know the situation, okay? And to be very clear, if Donald Trump was president, Laken Riley would be alive today. That was an unnecessary killing that was completely because of open border policy. But if your first act into a country is to break a country's laws, of which illegal immigration is and the illegal people coming in the country are, then we have every right to repel them and to send them back to their country of origin.
Do you think this mass deportation will negatively affect the U.S. economy?
I actually think it will positively affect the U.S. economy. I think that what it will do is, number one, you guys will have less people to compete for housing prices. So one of the reasons why housing is going up is because in supply and demand, if you have 10 million new people, they have to live somewhere. And when you have to live somewhere, then all of a sudden you have more people going after a finite good. Simple law of supply and demand. This is why sand is cheap and diamonds are expensive, is because when you have a surplus of something or a finite supply of something, prices will go up, or if you have a surplus, prices will go down. So I think housing prices will stabilize as part of that. There probably will be some speed bumps on the road in manual labor, but honestly what you'll see then is wages will go up, and wages will go up for American workers. And do you know who, specifically the population that will be benefited by this is working class voters of all races, but specifically Latino and Black Americans that work with their hands, that currently are having their wages undercut by individuals that break the law, come to the southern border, and then destabilize their working wage.
Not only will wages go up for American workers, they're also not going to be taking that money and sending remittances to foreign countries the way illegal immigrants very frequently and famously do. That's another important point to make. Also, going back to Laken Riley real quick, and Charlie says, like, yeah, I'm not saying all illegal immigrants are like that. Yeah, of course. But it is a fair point to make, and a very good one. All right, because the simple reality is any crime committed by an illegal immigrant in America, beyond obviously the initial crime of crossing the border, is a crime that wouldn't have happened otherwise because they shouldn't have been here in the first place. Laken Riley would be alive if that piece of you-know-what who killed her wasn't captured, arrested, released over and over again. That blood is on Biden and Kamala Harris's hands. And yes, Kamala's too. Kamala, whatever you want to call her. She's the border czar. So that blood is on her hands as well.
Well, I disagree because if you already know, illegal immigrants make up 20% of the labor force in the United States, and they pay over $100 billion in taxes, but they receive almost no benefits from the taxes that they pay from. So I believe the wages won't necessarily go up. If anything, they'll probably go down because people are now fighting for more degree-based.
Yeah, so first of all, I don't expect you to know this, but they, of course, do receive benefits. For example, they show up at a hospital, they'll receive care. They receive police support. They go to local schools. Right, so they send their kids to local social services. Additionally, they get money from the federal government as well, food stamp assistance, Medicaid, so on and so forth, that has now been expanded to even illegal immigrants. So that's not totally true. Secondly, though, they're still here on our terms. So we just might have a difference of how a country should be constituted. One of the reasons I support Trump is that a fundamental premise of how a country should exist is that the citizen should be able to determine who comes in their country, and that we actually have a say in elections of whether or not it's too much, too little, not enough, or whatever it is. It's obviously too much right now. It's unsustainable. It is then making our lives worse. And I'm not saying this is just because of illegal migration, but it's partially everybody in this audience right now. You are the first generation since George Washington to have life worse off than your parents. You're the most depressed, sick, anxious, medicated, alcohol addicted, and poor generation per capita in modern American history. And just a very simple rule and again, this ties into illegal immigration, but not specifically, is that if you are getting routinely poorer year over year, you should fire your leaders and put leaders back in charge that we're actually making life better and we're getting richer and be able to own homes. So yes, and then finally, I'll just say this. Of course, they contribute to some jobs in the economy, but that's not the point. The point is that those should go to Native American jobs, or even Native Americans too, but American-born jobs, not illegal migrant labor that cut in line and then basically said to the entire immigration system, so bad, it's too bad. Who here is a first-generation immigrant or a son or daughter of? So can I ask you a question? Did your parents come here the right way?
Yes.
Okay. No, this is important. So your parents came the right way, and your parents should be applauded for following the rules and coming here the right way. Do you know who
It's all a great point. Why are we concerned about the needs of illegal immigrants when we have Americans who are suffering? It's insane. Why are we letting the whole world in when we can't even get our own backyard straight? Like Jordan Peterson said, clean your room. And now, watch Charlie Kirk really lays out another reason why we shouldn't be prioritizing illegal immigrants, namely that it's unfair to people who come here legally.
Be applauded for following the rules and coming here the right way. Do you know who it's an insult to? Your parents, that other people can just cut in line and border jump into our country and basically tell your parents, oh, sorry that you filled out all the paperwork and you waited in line. We can just then do an act of injustice. So I'm actually on your parents' side here. I want more people to follow the law and come in here legally. I do not want a mass illegal immigration invasion of the country. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I have one.
Yeah, sure.
Relating to immigration as well. Do you think through this mass deportation that Donald Trump is trying to enforce, do you think it's fair that he wants to deport back all the Venezuelan people who just came from Venezuela? And I understand the news has made this prejudice that Venezuelans are criminals, they're killers. I absolutely understand. I agree for the young girl that was killed here. But people do not realize how bad the safety and economic state in Venezuela is right now. They just reelected Nicolás Maduro, and he is one of the worst presidents in Latin American history.
Yeah, again, so in order for them to come, they'd have to come the right and legal way. Now, the Venezuelans, some have actually applied for asylum and were granted asylum through legal methods. That's a separate discussion. I think we're too generous in that way. Others decide to just enter through the southern border. Here's the thing.
You know what's insane about this? It seems that if somebody just illegally waltzes on over the border, they either A, get let in illegally and then given their taxpayer benefit of, a free cell phone, plane flights around the place, luxury hotels. You can look this up, by the way. All these things have actually happened. It's not like I'm just talking out of my rear end here. You have all these issues, right? Then you have people who come here illegally, but they just suddenly get granted legal status for whatever reason. It's just insane to me. I know people who employ Americans, all right? Foreign people who employ Americans. They pay them a salary. They give them a livelihood. And they can't get into the United States on a visa. They get denied a visa. They will spend tens of thousands of dollars, if not over $100,000 on a visa. They're employing Americans and they get denied for some just total bullshit reason. Meanwhile, we're let in under what, Biden-Harris? We had about 10 million illegal immigrants just waltz on in like it's no big deal and we do nothing about it. It's crazy. What kind of country are we at this point? I don't even get it.
You have to return to your country of origin, and then we can get our own house together. And let me just kind of put this differently. We can open up our arms again once our young people, you guys, can own homes and have a life as good as your parents. Then we can start thinking about letting in all the other world's problems. Until then, we have an obligation to fulfill the mandate so that you guys can have the same life and access to the American dream that your parents had.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
And that wraps up our video for today, everybody. What'd you think? Let me know, guys. Comment below. I thought it was quite a respectful discussion. I actually enjoyed it. So curious to hear your thoughts, guys. As always, please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked about the video, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thank you so much, and God bless.